On a recent visit home to Louisiana, we made shrimp linguine. This is one of our family favorites. I'm going to go ahead and show you how we make it. We begin with 1 stick of butter. We wouldn't use margarine in this recipe. Butter is best. We also use 1 whole onion and about 3 stalks of celery. We keep the leaves to add for flavor. We'll use about 1.5 to 2 cups of chicken broth, so we just started with a whole carton and used what we needed. We also used 2 or 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. This recipe we ended up using about 3 tablespoons, but we just kind of start off with 3 or 4 and use it as we need it. And the star ingredient, the Gulf shrimp. So we use wild-caught Gulf shrimp, of course, because we're in Louisiana. But you could use whatever type of shrimp is available near you. Another star ingredient is the linguine. We always use a long type of noodle like linguine. For seasoning, we use a Creole seasoning like Tony Chachere's or Seasonal. We also use garlic powder. The pan we use is 5.5 quarts stainless steel. We start by slicing our celery into really small pieces. We then dice our onion also into very fine pieces. The first step is to melt our stick of butter. We added an extra piece of butter just because we had it, but this is not necessary. We have the stove on a high heat to allow the butter to melt, and we're just watching it closely. Once the butter is melted all the way, we can go ahead and add the onion and celery. At this point, we lower the heat to low. And we just stir it continuously, making sure all the veggies get coated in butter and not letting anything start to burn. And what you want to see is that the onions start to become translucent and that the butter as well begins to become clear. At this point, we're ready to start cooking the noodles. We cut them in half just to make them easier to fit into the pot. As you can see, the vegetables are cooking down really well. The butter is becoming more clarified and the onions are translucent as well. We added the pasta to the boiling water and are cooking according to the package instructions. Once the pasta is ready, we drain it. We're still watching the veggies and butter carefully to make sure they don't burn. Now that the butter is clarified and the onions are translucent, it's time to add our flour and make our light roux. It helps if you push the veggies kind of over to the side and let the butter slide to the bottom of the pan and then add the flour there. We added 3 tablespoons of butter. I would start with 2 and then add more if you need. And you want to stir the flour into the melted butter to make sure it dissolves well. Once the flour dissolves into the butter, you can go ahead and mix it all in with your veggies. This is the point where we added more seasoning. We also added garlic powder. Now you just want to continue stirring and babying it until the sauce is all meld with the veggies and you get that nice thick sauce. We add chicken broth at this point. We're just gonna add about 3/4 cup to start, and then we'll end up adding some more, but you don't wanna overdo it. We add the chicken broth to the veggie mixture and continue to stir. We added about another 1/4 cup. We're just adding in small increments, just like we did with the flour, to get the texture that we wanted. We ended up adding another 1/4 cup, but we just added in small increments so we don't wash it out. Now that the broth is added, we continue to stir, just making sure everything melds together. We stir and stir until we get this beautiful yellow color. You can see it starting to brighten. And now we're ready to add our shrimp. We added more Creole seasoning at this point just to amp up the flavor. And again we stir. Once the shrimp is cooked through, it's time to add our pasta. Again, we move forward in increments. We add some of the pasta, but we don't add it all because we don't want to overdo it, and we can always add more later. We let the sauce and the shrimp cook together so that all the flavors combine, and then we're ready to add it to the pasta. We ended up adding some red pepper flakes just for an added kick. We put a lid on it just for the last 5 or 10 minutes. Now we take the sauce and we bring it over to our bowl of pasta. You want a very large bowl for this, and we add it. We add it to about 3/4 of the package of pasta. We mix the pasta carefully with the sauce, careful not to break the noodles. Et voilà, on va manger. I added parsley flakes to my plate for color and flavor. We had broccoli and cauliflower on the side. Dinner is served.